Welcome to Networking Nuggets, the show where we dig deep into the art of building powerful connections. I'm your host, Janaya Hernandez, and each episode we bring you inspiring stories, practical tips, and expert advice from industry leaders and networking pros. Whether you're a seasoned professional or starting your career, this is the place to discover how to leverage networking and mentorship to fuel your success. Get ready to unlock the secrets of effective networking, develop meaningful relationships, and cultivate a community that empowers you. So grab your favorite drink, settle in, and let's dive into today's episode of Networking Nuggets. Wait. Remember, in the world of networking, it's all about practical advice for powerful networks. Hi, everyone. I am very excited for today's guest, and we are going to get into it because, how do I put this delicately, right? We were just sharing a moment about womanhood, so I'm excited to hear the point of view from my special guest today. I am Janaya, and we are here with another episode of Networking Nuggets. And today we're diving into the topic of entrepreneurial networking with a little twist of some more. So I'm excited for this. I'm going to let my guest introduce herself.
Thank you so much. It is so great to be here. I'm excited for the conversation, and I am honored that you thought of me and brought me onto the show. My name is Maxine Legall. I am CEO and founder of Thrive Inclusively. I started my company in March of 2024. So we're coming up on a year. I have spent the majority of my career in healthcare. I actually started off as a social worker. And
wow.
after working at New York Presbyterian for several years, I realized that I had a desire to learn more about healthcare and understand how hospitals make money. It wasn't until several years later, I was working at Northwell, that they paid for the MBA. Thank God for Northwell. So they paid for my MBA. I got a free degree. I just had to stay there for a certain number of years post-graduation. And then once I did that, I actually transitioned into patient experience, and I love that work. And I did patient experience at Northwell and at Mount Sinai. And then after that, I went to work as a DEI chief at a not-for-profit in the city.
Wow.
Yeah. And unfortunately, that organization did have some financial constraints, so a few roles were eliminated. Mine was one of them. And I was sitting at home, and I thought to myself, I've spent a good amount of time making other organizations great.
Mm-hmm.
I spent a good amount of my time building engagement, cultural transformation, coaching and developing others, creating programs. Why can't I just do that for myself?
The $1 million question.
The $1 million question. And my husband was like, duh. And I said, let me give this a try. And here I am. Here I am as an entrepreneur. I never saw myself doing this. I would not, if you had told me I was going to be doing this 3 years ago, I'd be like, no, I'm not doing that.
Really?
But here I am. And it has been a educational, enlightening, insightful journey. And I've met some really great people along the way. I have found that other people who are doing what I'm doing, there is a community and a network of people who are willing to support you, who are willing to connect with you, willing to coach you, speak with you, tell them what they learned, what works and what doesn't work. In fact, I find this community more supportive
really
than some of the communities I've worked in professionally. I have found that to be true. They are open and they are willing and they like to network and pass this on and tell you this. And it has really been a very, very enlightening journey so far.
Wow. How did you wiggle your way into that community? What are some pointers out there for us introverts who, unlike you, are willing to take that first step?
I think it comes down to networking. I just posted a video on LinkedIn about networking.
You did?
Where I encourage people, there are benefits to networking even though you might hate it. I don't love networking. I really don't. but I see the benefit to networking. And a lot of it is stepping out of your comfort zone and going to events and meeting people, whatever those events might be within your professional circle. For myself and for you also, Janaya, it's HLNY, Healthcare Leaders of New York.
Shout out. Hello, guys.
For also, I had found another community called Innovation Women. And it's led by a woman named Bobby Carlton.
Wow.
And it's a community of speakers. Some of them are just starting out. Some of them are accomplished speakers with books. And she does a networking call every Friday where they talk about any and everything. And you learn from these women and they learn from you, and you connect with them and you meet with them offline. I have a call after this with a woman who I met on that networking call just to talk about her journey. There's another person, she recently tagged me on a post on LinkedIn, and I was happy that she did it. We connected through Innovation Women. She's trying to grow her business. I think it's a matter of being able, and also LinkedIn is a great way to grow your network.
Yes, I couldn't agree more.
Great way to grow your network. People are willing. I had a call before you with an individual who wanted to know more about my, I have a CPXP, which is a Certified Patient Experience Professional certificate, and she wanted to learn more about that and how I got that. And so I met with her. So LinkedIn is also just a deep, infinite well of connection and networking. You just got to jump in. And people are so willing.
They are. People, I mean, connection is genuine when it comes to people. It's just knowing how to navigate it and finding the right and wrong in it.
Yeah.
I want you to touch a little bit because networking calls are new, right? I'm sure there's a community already based with LinkedIn. They even teach it in school now, which I'm very happy that they
great.
do.
I wish they did that when I was younger.
There's a lot of gems that they drop now that I really.
We were just thrown to the slaughter. We were like, good luck.
Yes. Just go fly. Fly, birdie,
have fun.
fly.
We hope you make it. Come back when you can give a donation.
Exactly. That time is not now. Like, there was not even a entrepreneurial degree when I was in college.
Nope.
At all. Wasn't even thought of. Wasn't thought of as a career.
Nope.
So the change that has come now and the new platforms that they have, distributed, I'm here for it. I think it's very beneficial. Yeah. I like you to talk to our friends. I call them my network BFFs, because I proclaim myself to be the network BFF. And tap a little bit into networking calls, because that is interesting and that is new. And what is the difference between the networking call community that you just spoke of and your regular conferences? Because there clearly is a difference. And you spoke a little bit about the benefit, but I'd like you to highlight just a tad more for us. How do we get into something like that?
All right, so I'm going to tackle your questions one by one. You told me to tell me the difference between a networking call and a conference.
Yes.
I believe that going to conferences allows me to gather relationship with people that I would likely want to have a networking call with.
Okay, all right.
When you go to a conference, you'll meet different people. You'll talk to them. Maybe the conference has a mixer or something like that. So you go to these events, you meet people. You may not have time to have a deep-seated conversation with them. So you might exchange contact information. Some conferences now have an app. So you might connect with them on the app. And then when it's, when the conference is over or coming to an end, you might say, I'd love to connect with you on LinkedIn. I'd love to do a virtual coffee with you. And so when you go to these events, be it a conference, a mini congress, if you will, a one-day conference, you'll meet different people. The idea is to get their information, get their card. You're not looking to get something from them. It's not like, oh, I know you now, Janaya, help me find a job. That's not what it's about. It's really about building relationship and getting to know people. And what's really nice about networking calls is it challenges your thinking. You meet people who are doing things you didn't think people were doing. They tell you how they've done it. They might have written a book. They might tell you that they're, they just transitioned from one role to another. This is what this is like. They might tell you about and you're learning, you're absorbing. It's yours. You become a literal sponge. And it's so valuable, I think, in a world where we can be so divisive. and we can be
Yes.
so resentful and hateful towards people. I have networked with all shapes and colors of people in the
Yes.
year that I've started this company, and they've all been awesome people to talk to. They've all been awesome people to talk to. And so when you do that, you're driving inclusion for yourself. You're driving learning for yourself. And they're learning from you.
Yeah.
You asked
Yes.
about what are the benefits to networking, and I put that on the video as well. I would say that it forces you to come out of your comfort zone, right? Because nothing grows in your comfort zone. All right, you can just sit there and nothing's gonna happen. You got to step out of your comfort zone, and it allows you to widen your network and meet all different types of people, so that maybe somewhere down the line, or maybe the following week, you become top of mind to that person for something else they might be doing. For example, Janaya, we met, right?
Yes.
And we were looking to do spotlights for people for HLNY.
Yes.
And I was like, who am I going to do? Who am I going to do? And I remembered, it's mentorship month. I know who to ask. And Janaya was top of mind. Why was she top of mind, you might ask? Because we spoke to one another. We networked. We connected. She told me what she's doing. I learned from her. And so when I thought about mentorship month, I said, this is someone that has to be one of our spotlights. Would she have come to my mind if we hadn't met and connected? I don't know. But because we did, it made it that much easier for us to connect. And that's what you want when you're building your networking community. You want to create a network of people that you can pull from them if something is needed, and they can do the same for you. And so it's widening your network, it's stepping out of your comfort zone. Those are the benefits. And also, networking is just good to do. You learn how to present yourself, you learn how to have conversation, you learn how to engage. And that's kind of missing, I think, in this post-pandemic world.
Yes, we were stuck inside. We lost some valuable tools. How to interact with one.
Yeah, and we see it with our children.
Yes.
My youngest was what, 5 when the pandemic hit.
Wow.
And everyone in her class, her teacher was telling me, like, these are my pandemic babies. Like, socially, they're very different. And it's funny because that's going to shape them for the rest of their lives.
Yes.
My teenager, she was what? She was maybe 10 when the pandemic hit. And all she says now is, I love home. I love home. I want to be home. That's it. She'll go out. She'll go to school. We'll go to church. She's like, I want to be home. Because that's what she was used to
for years. Yeah.
For years. And so we have become, in many ways, the people who, I like home too. Honestly, Janaya, I love home. Right? I do. I love home. There's an event coming up in a couple of weeks, and I looked at the event and I was like, it's not virtual.
No, virtual's done.
And I said to myself, Maxine, you need to go to this event. And I'm like, I gotta leave the house.
You do.
Yes, you do.
It's time. It's time. It's time to come out. And we appreciate that you come out, because the gems that you're dropping right now, are these some of the techniques that you teach in your company? Let our listeners know what your business actually is and what you actually do, and what can we do to benefit from signing on with you. Because I know what my benefit is. I've utilized.
Thank you so much. So with Thrive Inclusively, I'm really passionate about doing coaching, consulting, and speaking. First and foremost, the speaking piece. I think after you've worked for several different organizations and have helped them create really engaging, really impactful types of trainings and educational development modules, when you've done that, it sticks with you. Yes. And so I really enjoy speaking. I love to energize audiences. I love to speak on things anywhere from imposter syndrome to leadership development to patient experience to cultural transformation to driving engagement within an organization. Those are the things I really love to speak about. And also, I would say, I spoke at a women's leadership summit several months ago. And I loved being able to talk to that audience about a little bit about empowerment, right? A little bit about empowerment and really thinking and believing things about ourselves that are contrary to what our mindset might be. It might be a limited mindset. And so really bringing people along and getting them to realize, no, you're meant to accomplish great things. You got to shift that limited mindset to a growth mindset. In addition to that, I also do coaching. And so I coach professionals who might be on the leadership journey. I may coach someone who is a new patient experience leader and they're looking to really grow professionally while bringing impact and change to their organization in their new role. So I coach leaders as well, or aspiring leaders, if you will. And then on the consulting piece, I think that what I offer is the opportunity to come into an organization, assess what their challenges might be around engagement or psychological safety, or maybe where their leaders might have hit a roadblock, really assess that, and then really work with them and give them the tools that they need to be able to enhance their productivity, enhance their culture, enhance their engagement. So that's really what my company does.
I have a question because you are the subject matter expert on this. Do we feel that if early careers had like a baseline knowledge of networking, some of the challenges that are happening in the organizations would not vanish because, right, that's how we thrive and learn with some conflict, but maybe resonate a little bit better in a connection between employee and a manager, like a leader, because there's a difference between your manager and your leader. And I just want you to touch a little bit on that.
So you're asking me whether or not if we were encouraging or giving people better skills around networking, would that impact how they work with their own workspaces? I think it's a broader skill, which is really challenging early careerists to challenge their comfort zone, to grow and develop themselves and be committed to doing that. So if you are a professional that leans in and says, I want to be mentored, I want to find a sponsor, I want to be coached, I want to continue to grow and learn throughout my career journey. If you can get people to do that, right, then that spills over, if you will, into their ability to connect with others and to network effectively, right? And to walk into a room and feel comfortable and confident with who they are, so that they can then go out and meet and talk to other people. That's what I think. I think that a lot of us, right? We got our first job, we started working. And we just worked, we grind. But we have to be intentional about continuing to grow ourselves as professionals.
Yes, I think that's a part.
And I don't know that we do that. We get so busy. I'm busy. And I'm like, are you taking care of yourself? Are you learning? Are you growing? These are the things you have to think about, because this is one job. What about the next one? Right? Yes. And sometimes we get so caught up in one job. Oh, this job is my life. Our LinkedIn profile is all about this job. And I'm like, well, who are you? What do you do? Like, you could work for, Bill and Bob's organization, and it just says, I am the manager at Bill and Bob's organization. Yeah, but who are you? Like, what are you passionate about? That's what we do. We fall into this. And I think it's important that as professionals, be it early careerists or mid-careerists, that we are intentional about growing and developing ourselves. And then in doing that, that's going to force you to say, I have to go to this networking event. Why? Because they're offering a qualifying credit, or I have to go to this networking event because they're giving me a continuing education credit, or I just need to go to this networking event because they're going to be talking about something that I really want to learn more about. And because I am committed to my growth, I got to go to that.
Oh, it's resonating. I'm taking the notes. You had a list in there, a grocery list that I appreciated, and I want you to touch a little bit on it. It was a sponsor. It was a tour. It was a building of a team. Now, I know there's a difference. And there's some people out there that do not know there is a difference between a sponsor and a mentor. And there's some other people that we need on that list. Walk us through it. Walk the audience through that.
You want me to walk you through the difference between a mentor and a sponsor?
I do.
You who wrote a book on mentorship. You want me to do
I
that?
want you to walk us through it.
Boy,
From the entrepreneur.
It's getting hot in here.
It's getting hot. I opened up the windows, guys.
You really did. Oh boy. Okay, so I think that when I think about mentor and sponsor, I think you need both.
Yes.
Because a mentor is someone that guides you. You have the opportunity to sit down with them. They'll have conversation. They will speak about their experience, what their journey was like, what their growth was like. How did they grow? How did they develop? They'll walk you through that. And there'll be a sounding board for you, right? So you could say, I went to that meeting and that guy, Bob, he gave me a hard time and I just needed to tell him what was what. And a mentor will say, right? And they might say, let's pause. That happened to me and let me tell you this, that, and that. So I have a mentor, and this is an individual who has a lot of experience in leadership, okay? A lot of experience in leadership, ran major organizations or hospitals. And so when I used to get mad or I used to tell her something, she would say, are you finished now? You got it out. You vented. Right? Yes. So now what are we going to do about it? Like she had this skill of being able to walk me through that. So a mentor is like your sounding board.
I like that.
They're guiding you. They're challenging you. I hope I got it right, Janaya.
You got that sounding board right. I'm going to hashtag that. I like that.
A sponsor is someone who is senior to you, because a mentor doesn't have to necessarily, there's reverse mentorship, right?
Yes. And a lot of people do not know that.
They don't know that. Yeah.
I was surprised. Yes.
Yeah. There is reverse mentorship. You can find people who are older who are being mentored by younger people. And these younger people know a lot of things that we may not know.
Yes.
And they help us, and they say, especially there's so much stuff happening just from a technological perspective. But these young people, they're sponges. They interact with technology completely different from the way that we do.
Yes.
And so learning from them is so beneficial. So it can go both ways, right? And so then a sponsor rather is typically someone who is senior to you in role and title.
Yes.
Right? Who are in rooms that you won't necessarily be in.
Not privy to. Yes.
Right? You're not privy to those rooms, but they will take your name into the rooms that you're not sitting in.
Yes.
And they will elevate you, and they will speak of you in a positive light. So that if an opportunity becomes available, they'll say, oh, well, I know Janaya.
Yes.
And I think she'd be great for this role, and here's why. And they can only say here's why because they know you.
Yes.
So there is a relationship. There is an exchange with having a sponsor. You have to speak with them. You have to be able to articulate what your strengths are, the direction you want to grow in. At some organizations, you even do projects for your sponsor. Some organizations, they'll do that so that they can kind of understand how you work and what your skills are. But that sponsor is taking your name everywhere. It is critical to have a sponsor. In the time that I have navigated throughout my career, I've had a couple of sponsors.
Mm-hmm.
One of them, he really helped push me along to the MBA, right? He was the person that wrote the recommendation letter.
Yes.
When a position became available, he said, I told them you're the right person for this role.
And a lot of time you don't even know they're talking on your behalf.
You don't even know who you're talking about.
No clue.
Another sponsor, same thing. I was looking at a role or an opportunity to work somewhere, and he said, okay, that's great. Let me know if you need my help. And I was like, sure. And then a couple days later, they were like, oh, yeah, we got a call from so-and-so.
I love it. Yes.
Really?
No idea. You had no clue.
No idea. But they're willing to do that. Why? Because they've seen you. They understand your skill. They understand your work ethic.
Yes.
And in order to have a sponsor, you got to work. Like you have to be someone who is actively engaged in their own growth and development, someone who's engaged in the work that they're doing, so that someone can look at that and say, yeah, this person, this
it's being seen. They've noticed it.
Has to be visible.
They don't even come up to you and say, you know what? I like what you're doing. They say it on the other end.
Yeah.
I've had sponsors multiple times, had no idea.
Yeah.
Very blindsided. Yeah. Then you get a call.
Yeah.
just like you said. And they're like, hey, I was speaking to Bob. He spoke very highly of you. And I'm like, really? Yeah. I didn't even get to have coffee yet with Bob.
Yes. Thanks, Bob.
Yes, exactly.
Bob's great.
Yes. On the business level, because healthcare is a business, and I think sometimes people forget that. Being at what level you come into healthcare, and your reasoning for a lot of us come into healthcare to help, but the doors have to stay open and the bills do have to get paid. What is your advice on finding that section, like finding that networking niche to be with those business developers? If you're like a nurse, or you're not so much in healthcare administration, because it is important to know kind of both roles and how to network in between the two. Do you get where I'm resonating? So I have a lot of nurses that are looking to branch over into healthcare administration, and they don't know how to get into that avenue. They don't know how to present themselves in that way, because myself included, when I first became a nurse, I didn't think that I could be on the business aspect. I didn't really know how to put myself in that circle. Had no clue. Like, I had to learn on my own. When I would go to conferences, I would speak of clinical and like knowing your audience. How do you develop that skill? What is your advice on that?
So you're asking me if someone is a nurse, but they want to cross over into the administrative side of nursing or even healthcare administration. What should they do?
Yes. How do we cross over there? How do we tiptoe?
I think the first thing I would say is you have to be able to open up your eyes to what's happening around you. I think a lot of nurses go to work. A lot of us go to work and we may have tunnel vision. This is my job. This is what I'm doing. I'm going to do it, and I'm going to go home.
Yes.
So they don't want no trouble. They're like, listen, all right, this is my job. I come in, I work 3 12s, and I'm good night, and they're out. And that works if that's all you want to do. I think if you want to grow and learn about administration, you have to take the what do they call visors? What they put on the horse, right? You got to take that off so that you can see everything, and it becomes, I'm a nurse. I'm coming in to do my shift, but I also noticed that there's an improvement board on my unit. Or I'm also noticing we're tracking data. We're tracking hospital-acquired infection. We're tracking patient experience. We're tracking call bells or responsiveness. I want to know more about that. And then once you tell me more about that, I want to learn more about, what are these councils like that might exist within the organization? Are we a magnet or not? What do we need to be magnet? How can I get involved with that? Can I throw my hat in the ring to learn a little bit more about what happens big picture after I go home? Or when I'm in the room with a patient, what's happening on the outside that's driving change or keeping the unit going? Talking with your nurse manager and finding out more about their journey. How did you come to do this? What are some of the challenges? Are there any projects or any opportunities that are coming down the pipeline that I could be considered for? You have to branch out. And then while you're doing that, also be willing and open to the networking that we talked about. The Beckers.
Yes.
Getting involved with different types of organizations, getting involved with any kind of nursing organizations, so that you're learning and you're learning and you're learning. Doing that. And then as you begin to do that in your mind, it's funny, but you'll start to understand what really engages you and energizes you. And you'll start to say, man, I really enjoyed learning more about blah, blah, blah. I enjoyed learning more about quality improvement. I enjoyed learning more about just the financial aspect of what we're trying to do. Yeah. I liked what they were talking about when they were talking about Six Sigma. I want to know more about that. And then feed yourself. And while you're doing that, look at what other opportunities are out there for a nurse that may not be at bedside. What are the things that they're doing? Network and talk to people. Reach out to other nurses who are doing. You have LinkedIn now. Back in my day, you didn't have LinkedIn. You couldn't.
It wasn't as popular. No,
it wasn't as popular. You couldn't. If you wanted to talk to someone, you had to talk to someone to talk to someone to talk to someone who might know what you want to do. Now it's like LinkedIn. You just go on LinkedIn. Who's a quality improvement nurse I can talk to? And you just reach out to them and you say, hey, I wonder if you have some time to talk with me about your journey. and you just become a sponge. That's what I would say. That's what I would say. I hope that answers your question.
Oh, that answered. We
Yeah.
wrote some notes.
Yeah.
Now I took something out of that statement, that answer, and just reach out. Do you encourage early careerists, even mid careerists, at any level, for cold response, cold inquiring, just going right in? You don't know me, I don't know you, but I like what's on your profile. How can you help me out? How should we professionally do that in those words?
There's something really cool called ChatGPT. And you could literally go into ChatGPT and say, Claude or Chatty, I want to reach out to Jane. She's an RN who is doing the work that I want to do. I'd like to learn more about her. Help me craft a introductory connection note with her that lets her know that I'd love to connect with her and learn more about her. Poof. ChatGPT will tell you exactly what. Hello, Jane. I see that both you and I have worked for this organization, and we share a passion for blah, blah, blah. You know, that's what you do, and it just tells you.
They put it all
what together. To say, and you can say, you could tweak it so it doesn't sound as mechanical.
Yes.
But, you just give a gentle note to let people know. And then once you've done that and they've connected with you, then you could say, thank you so much for the connection. I would be honored, or I'm wondering, or would you be available for, and ChatGPT can help you phrase that. Would you be available to meet with me for 30 minutes to discuss? Yeah.
The world is, it's just knowing your resources.
Knowing your resources, I'm telling you.
Now, you are one of our resources, our community. How do we tap into you? How do we get in contact with you if we need more coaching? If we need more networking skills and we need some more advice, how does one find Maxine?
I think the best way to find me is on LinkedIn, because I have my profile, and I also have my company. My company has its own profile as well. I think that's the best way to find me. And you could also email me. I'm Maxine@thriveinclusively.com. It's really easy. Maxine@thriveinclusively.com. You can find me there as well. And I'd love to hear from your listeners, and especially those who want to learn, who want to grow. I think that we're meant to continuously grow and develop.
Yes, I agree. I agree.
We're never supposed to stop learning. I say this too as I look at a book that I didn't finish reading. Mentor, Coach, Lead. I don't know if you've heard of that book.
Who's the author?
The last name is Baedke, Baedke. She's an FACHE as well.
Really?
Yeah, Laura. Is it Laura Baedke?
I'm gonna have to add it to our list. I'll also put it in the description to share with our community. I love to share a good book.
Yeah, it's a good book. I'm almost done with that book, and then I have another one that I have to tackle through too. Yeah, I'm trying to read more, Janaya.
You also are contributing to the reading community. We can let them know a little bit, not a lot, but please share that you will be contributing to the reading community.
I am in the process of writing a book.
Yeah.
The name of the book is Thrive Inclusively, but it's going to specifically focus on thriving inclusively for leaders.
Yes.
And I talk a little bit about what my experience has been working for different types of leaders, what I learned from them. I talked about just a toolkit, if you will, that leaders need to have.
Oh, I love it.
To be able to navigate successfully. Listen, work is hard.
Work is hard.
Navigating your career is hard. And I think that there's just certain things that we need to do on a consistent basis that allows us to navigate that in a more successful way. So even things as simple as taking care of yourself. No one wants to talk about that. Oh, I don't have time. Oh, I knew she was going to say that. No, you do have to take care of yourself, because if you don't, you can get sick.
Yes.
You can work yourself into an early grave. You can rob your family of time with you.
Yes.
Right? All those things are important. And so those are some of the things that I touch on in the book. And I'm trying to push through, Janaya. We're trying to get this book done. But the inspiration comes at the strangest times.
At night when you're in bed.
Yeah, brushing your teeth,
my whole
in the
book.
shower.
Yes, sleeping and brushing my teeth. That's where my pages have come from. My best writing, my best pages. Like when I reread those pages, I'm like, I was brushing my teeth when I came up with that. Yes, that's when we have a moment of rest.
Yeah,
a moment to ourselves. You get to think clear. Yes.
Well, there's this Christian author. His name is Deblier Snell. He's the speaker and director for a ministry called Breath of Life Ministry. He's based in Huntsville, Alabama, and I've read most of his books. Anytime he comes out with a book, I inhale it. And one of the things he talked about in one of the books is how much time we spend distracted.
Oh,
he says that we will write volumes on social media, but we won't write a book. Yeah. I tell you, when he said that, I was like, ouch.
Pen was out though, right? Pen and notebook came out.
Talking to me. Yes, exactly. I was like, he's talking to me. He's talking to you. And it's funny because it almost felt like I'm reading the book and it felt like a finger was like pointing at me. It's you. This is for you. And I said, it's time to do this. A lot of us have, many of us have so much to give.
Yes, I believe
that. So much to offer and so much to contribute. We just have to break out of this limited mindset that says, I can't do that. Only this person does that. Only that person does that. No.
There's room it's a huge table. There's room for all of us.
Absolutely.
And there's several tables. And there's seats several places. Yeah. Yes. I speak of this because I had to teach it to myself. So when I reciprocate this lesson, it was a lesson learned. Yeah. Like it's not just words. Like those words were me at one point. Yes. Yeah. Yeah. So I understand. Yeah. I appreciate you so.
This is great.
But we're not done.
Okay.
We're not done.
There's more.
No, there's more. There's more. I play a little game.
Okay.
At the end of my segments, for our audience, and it's called Toolbox or Trash. And we give you some items, and these items that I give you, you let our listeners know. I want to keep that in my professional toolbox, or Janaya, we need to get rid of that. It needs to go. So, are you up for the challenge?
I am.
Okay. Now, you touched a little bit on these. So I think I know the answer to the first one. Professional development webinars. Are we keeping that in our toolbox, or do we think we want to put that in the trash?
That's staying in my toolbox, Janaya.
I thought so. How about, because we touched on this one just a tad, and if I wish we had more time, because I definitely would love to pick your brain on this one. Personal branding.
That's definitely staying in my toolbox,
Janaya. Our toolbox is getting heavy,
Yeah, definitely. Absolutely. Yeah. Got to do that.
Now, I know you like ChatGPT. I'm too, and very friendly. Mine's did not call me Jan, but I actually would like that because that's like a nickname for me. So I got to see how I can tweak that on my app. But
mine calls me Max.
Really? Mm-hmm. See? I gotta learn my settings. How about networking apps? Do we keep those? Yes. Or do we put those in the trash and go old school?
I think that the answer is keep it. I think the best way to do anything is to consider the old way of doing it, which is generally your default, but not being afraid to try something new. I'll tell you a story really quickly. I went to an event. I went to an HLNY event. It was a holiday party, and I met a gentleman, and we were talking. He was the older guy, very nice. He goes, got a business card? It's like, no, I'm sorry, I didn't bring one. How do you not have a business card? What's going on? You come to a networking event with no business card? He gave it to me.
He said, have a seat.
He said, we're having another networking event next week, and I'd love for you to come. And I was there with another colleague who's lovely, and she was like, yes, Maxine, I'm going to that, and I want you to come. So I go home, and I make business cards. And so then I go to the event, and guess who's there? The gentleman. And he's like, "How are you, Maxine?" I was like, "I'm fine." I said, "Oh, and look, I have a business card." "You do?" He takes the business card and he looks at it and he starts to study it. He goes, "Where'd you get your MBA?" I'm like, Hofstra. He's like, "Where'd you get your MSW?" It's like, "I got it from Columbia." So, like he needed something.
It was it was like a little resume for him.
He needed it. Like it was like, and then it brought conversation. And then he was done with me. That generation of folks, they need a business card.
Yes.
But younger people, they're like, "Yeah, what's your LinkedIn? Do you have a QR code for your LinkedIn?"
Oh, the dot.
I'll just scan your QR code. I'll just do that. They're virtual business cards now. You just scan it. There's so many different things. Why not just have both? You know why? Yes. Because we are networking across multiple generations.
Agreed.
And so you gotta have both.
It's like the blue suit. I asked this question to my audience, and I asked this to my guests. Do we keep the blue suit, the navy blue business suit? Is it in the toolbox or is it in the trash?
Now, I think that's also a generational question. Because someone younger than me might say, "I'm not keeping that."
They did. They tossed it. They put it in the trash, and I was heartbroken.
I'm gonna keep it. I remember when I was graduating from Columbia, and there was a woman. She was in charge of the Career Development Center. What a beautiful individual! And she gave us a book. She had a course you had to go to, and she told you what to wear, either a dark blue suit or a black suit. She told you skirts were better, but you could wear pants. She told you what to do when you got there. She told you they're going to offer you coffee, and she goes, "If you take the coffee, you could spill it on yourself." I'm not saying this is still true because I've read articles that say take the coffee, but she was like, "Ask for water instead so you don't seem like, you're dismissive." Like she walked you through everything, and yet you had to have a suit. I mean, I always have a suit ready.
Yes. Always. I love a blazer. You guys know that. It's on the business card.
You know what's really cool that I'm noticing now? Blazers are changing color now. You got pink, you got purple, you got green. You can have fun now with these types of things, but I would definitely keep the...
Oh, you warmed my heart. Because I was heartbroken when they put it in the trash. I wasn't ready.
Yeah. It's a new day. It's a new day.
I'm getting there. Maxine, this was a blast. I had a ball. I'm excited about all the things that you're doing. I'm excited for all the things to come. I know our listeners will resonate with this episode. So I thank you. I also thank our listeners for tuning in to this episode of Networking Nugget. And if you found value in today's discussion, please share this episode with your network and leave us a review. Your support helps us reach more people and share these important insights. So until next time, keep building those connections with intention and empowering one another. Right, Maxine? Empowerment. That's a lesson in itself right there.
Absolutely.
And remember, it's all about spreading practical advice for powerful networks. Toodles.
Hi.